What's up you guys, it's Troi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be painting my Earth Queen tutorial. This painting tutorial is in partnership with the Balch Springs Library, so if you received a painting kit, please check out the description area below for further information on how to mix your colors. I'll guide you guys step by step on how I created this piece. Please feel free to pause the video at any time in case you need to work on your painting. First, I'm going to start off by taping my surface. I like to use 1/2" washi tape just to give it a nice clean white trim around my painting, but you're more than welcome to skip this step if you like. So I'm going to go ahead and just speed right through this and show you guys how I tape my painting. Next, I'm going to start measuring out for my grid. I'm going to take my 12-inch ruler for this, and I'm going to start spacing out 1-inch notches all around the edges of my canvas. This will help me keep my proportions on check. We want to try to get our lines as straight as possible, but even if you mess up on your lines, that's totally fine. We just want the grid to be close as possible so that way we can start constructing our figure. Now, if you're using a 16 by 20 canvas provided by the library's kit, you'll want to measure out, instead of 1-inch notches, 2 1/4 inch notches to measure out for your grid. Next, I'm going to take my pink eraser and gently erase out the harsh lines. So now that we've got our grid in place, we're going to go ahead and start constructing the general shape of our queen. So I'm going to count in 2 spaces starting from the bottom and then 4 spaces up, and this is where we're going to start constructing the shoulders. So I'm going to start from the center and create just a basic center line here, and from those 2 squares towards the center I'm going to make almost like a little mountain shape. So we want them reaching the 2 edges right inside those 2 squares that we designated. And we want to make sure right at the ends here we cap it off with a little half circle. So a little semicircle. These are going to be the little shoulders for our dress. So we finished that little shape there. So next what we're going to do, we're going to create the collar of her dress. And right in the center, we're just going to create again another half circle there. And I'm also going to add a bit of detailing by kind of creating a V neckline here, right underneath our half circle neckline. So I've got that in place. And then next what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pencil and I am going to bring out the shoulder just a little bit inward and create a line slanting downward towards the bottom of our canvas on both sides. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, kind of completing that shoulder and bringing that line slanted downward towards the bottom of our surface. Then I'm going to kind of complete the capped sleeve a little bit by bringing this line in just very slightly. So it kind of resembles the shape of a jelly bean almost. And that's the shape you'll want to make to kind of create the shoulder caps of the sleeves. And I'm also going to kind of curve these sides in. That's going to create the bust of our figure, and I'm going to kind of join those 2 together in the center, kind of creating and shaping out the bust. So as you can see, it's almost like a really soft V shape. Now we're going to start working on the torso. As you can see, we want it to center off right down here. We're going to count up 2 spaces here, and that's where we're going to stop. So I'm going to create her hands right there. So you're going to create 2 teardrop shapes. And you do want them to overlap each other to really get that effect of her hands crossing one in front of the other. And just kind of defining the shape a little bit here. Now that I have her hands in place, I'm going to start constructing her neck. So right above the little mountain shape we created, where the base of her shoulders are, we are going to create almost like a little vase shape. Erase that little line there. And we are going to draw 2 curved lines going upward to create her neck. And then right above that, we're going to start constructing the head. Now we do want to give her a nice defined chin. And so again, we're almost going to make like a wide teardrop shape for her head. Just kind of round it off at the top. And soften those cheeks a little bit. Next, I'm going to start adding some more detail to her dress, adding another layer to her collar here, just making another little curved shape, and also another outline defining the V-neck shape of her collar right here. Then I'm going to go in right around here, around the cuff, and define that shape, adding another little line for her shoulders. And right here I'm also going to add another little teardrop shape there, just to kind of signify little divots in her shoulder puffs. I'm not sure exactly what to call these, but we'll just call them shoulder puffs. Now right underneath her bust, we're going to start constructing her torso. So I'm just going to make small little curves inward towards where her hands are. And then I'm going to round that shape off all the way into her sleeve, as if creating that area inside the elbow. And you want it to just kind of curve inside, just to kind of show where her sleeves are hanging. And create an oval shape right on the edges here of where her hands are entering her sleeve. Because we do want to give the appearance that her hands are coming out of her sleeves. So we want to create that space. Just kind of defining the shape a little there, and looks good. So far so good. Next I'm going to start working on her hair, and I typically like to start from the center line to create a little crease and draw on the outer edges of her hair right here. And I'm kind of just measuring out where I want part of the straight part of her hair to start. Right about there. I'm just kind of measuring out this side too to keep it consistent. You're more than welcome to do whatever style of hair you'd like for your queen. You don't have to do it exactly like I'm doing, but you're more than welcome to count out the spaces and follow along if you like. So now that I'm happy with where the straight part of her hair is starting, I'm going to add a little bit more detail by adding a little bit of curve in there to signify curls. And I also want some of her hair to kind of drape over her shoulder and onto her dress. So I'm also going to go ahead, draw a little line curving around her head, This is going to be her crown. I'm just going to take my pencil and a little line on top with a little upside down V, defining her hair just a little bit. Again, you have total, complete creative freedom to do whatever you'd like for your queen. Her crown does not have to be the shape. You could have more points to it, more jewels to it, whatever you'd like. But I'm kind of just going in and defining where her hairline is and where her crown meets. Getting rid of some excess lines. And I want the hair to kind of drape a little in front of her face, just like so. There we go, looks good. Okay, now I'm going to create the halo effect, kind of circling around her. And I kind of want to make sure it's as even as possible, so I'm going to draw a little reference line there, speed up the process just a bit, and create that little circle there. And I'm going to go in with a second circle. This is just to give me a reference to where I want my colors to stop. Perfect. 2 circles ready to go. And then in the center, I'm going to draw in just a little jewel. Little frowny faces for her eyebrows. And smiley faces for her eyelids. So her eyes are giving the appearance that they're closed. And I'm just going to cap them off just to show the shape of her eye. You don't have to cap them off like this. You're more than welcome to just keep them as a little smiley face if you like. Totally up to you. I'm just adding and defining those shapes just a little bit more. Now for the nose, again, you want to do a smaller little smiley face. And for the lips, I always like to start off doing a heart shape. This always, let's try that again. There we go. So I always like to start off with like a little heart shape, just to give me a general idea of where I want the mouth to go. And I typically just start constructing it from there. I'll put in little areas for her cheeks, just to give me an idea of where to color. And there we go. That looks good. So here I go, I'm trying to break out the paint. So I'm going to kind of speed this up a little bit as I pour the paint out. Got my paint good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my round brush, grab some ivory and a little bit of that brown, and just start painting in her skin tone. So anywhere there is open skin, we're going to go ahead and paint that in. Depending on how dark you want this color for your skin tone, you can add more brown if you like, if you'd like a more darker skin tone. I'm also going to go in with my smaller liner brush just to get in those small little areas here and to get a little bit better precision. I'm going to take my round brush again, rinse it off a little bit. This time I'm going to go in with that Flamingo red and a little bit of that ivory. Kind of mute the color out just a tiny bit. There we go. How long does it take for me to blend? Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to start painting in her dress. I'm going to go ahead, and yes, I did paint over some of the detailing. If it's easier for you to just paint around the detailing, please feel free to do that. I find it easier to just paint right over it because I can typically see the line underneath, but go at your comfort level. And I'm also going to go in with my smaller liner brush, again to get those finer details, painting in the torso and the little sleeve poofs and the little necklace right around here. Rinse off my brush, grab just some of that orange, mix in just a teeny tiny bit, still wanting that nice contrast. I'm going to go in and paint in the cap of the sleeve here. Again, we do want to still keep that contrast, so you don't want to mix in too much of that ivory color, and also the little divots in the sleeve. With my liner brush, and also that V neckline, and define that shape with that color. I'm also going to go in and add shadow underneath the bust and around the edges of the torso. Create that nice shadow line also around the bust area. And you guys are more than welcome to pause, rewind as many times as you like, so you can get a sense of where to paint in certain areas. Now I'm going to go in with my flat brush, and I'm going to take some of that yellow paint and mix it in with my Flamingo red. And mix it in just a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to start painting in her sleeves. I'm going to use this color to get that great color of the sleeve area. This also helps thicken the yellow out a bit so it's not as opaque. Yellow tends to be a little bit fickle when you're painting with it, so it's always good to thicken it up a little bit with another color. Going in, just touching up the edges with my liner. I'm also going to create an outer outline around that V-neck shape with that same yellow color, and adding just small little notches and little outlines around the cuffs of her sleeve poofs. Add those little notches for design. Again, this is where you can really get creative with this painting. And also around her necklace here. Take some more of just that orange, tiny bit of that yellow. And I'm going to use this to really find that outline where the inside of her arm is, to kind of give it a bit more shape where her sleeve is. As you can see, I'm kind of curving it also along the edge of the hem of the sleeve just to give it a bit more shape. Okay, I am so sorry you guys, my camera shut down and I didn't notice it wasn't recording until now. So I'll kind of explain a little bit about what I added. So all I pretty much did was add little details to the collar. I also added in coloring for the jewels and also a couple highlights and colors in the sleeves and around the bust. So I added a little yellow around the bust to highlight it, and I also add small little line details in the sleeve here just to give it a little bit more character. So if you guys want to go ahead and pause the video just to add those details in there, please feel free, but I'm going to go ahead and refill on some paint. Okay, so now that we're all caught up, I'm going to go ahead and start to continue working on the dress. So I'm going to go ahead and paint in this little area here right between her sleeves, just finishing off the dress. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the background here and filling in all these colors. So I'm going to take my flat brush, give it a good rinse. Okay, so yes, this right here, I'm going to take my flat brush and I kind of want to start working on creating a halo effect. So I'm first going to take some of my orange, mix in a little bit of yellow and add it in here right around where her head area is here. Now you guys are more than welcome to get as creative as you want with this. You do not have to add the same colors that I'm adding. Feel free to play around with your colors, see what works for you, and then just have fun with this. So now I'm going to go in with a little bit more orange and add with a little bit of that ivory and add in that second ring around my queen. I'm going with a little bit of orange around that second layer. Then I'm going to add in some yellow for that third layer. Then I'm going to mix in a little green with the yellow, and I'm going to add that as my final layer on the outer edges and perimeter of my painting. I'm trying to blend out my colors just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more gradient and adding a smoother transition between the colors. And around the final outer edge there, just using that dark green just to finish it off. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my liner brush here. I'm going to grab a little bit of my brown paint here. There we go. I'm going to grab a little bit of my brown paint with my liner brush, mix in a tiny bit of that ivory paint. And now I'm going to go in and start adding some shadow right underneath the chin area here. I'm just going to outline the chin. And then the outer edge of the neck here. And then halfway on the other side of the neck, not completely. And just make a small little curved line here. And right under the neck here. And I'm just gonna fill that in to complete that shadow. So I'm going to grab a little bit more, and this time I'm going to add it to the hands here. Grab a little bit more. And I'm going to start outlining this hand further behind the front hand. Just going to outline all around the outer edges very gently with my liner brush. Then I'm going to go in for the front hand and outline the outer edges of this hand. A little water. Here we go. Right around there, we want to get that edge further in the back. Then I'm going to go in with a little bit of my green and a tiny bit of the yellow and fill in the little jewel for the crown and the little jewel right above her head. Now again, you're more than welcome to do whatever you like design wise for your painting. You don't have to add in the jewel as I am. Kind of filling in the jewels around the necklace here, making them a little bit more pronounced. There we go. Now I'm going to go in with some black after I've rinsed my brush, still using my liner brush. And now I'm going to start painting in the hair. So I want to start speeding this up a bit. And I'm just going to fill in all the areas where I have hair and add any little detail to it that I'd like. Again, you're more than welcome to use whatever color you like. You don't have to use the color black. You can get as creative as you'd like with this. Gonna add some detail over her shoulder to show the hair kind of falling over her shoulder in her dress. And then adding this little section right here, right above her crown, the last little piece of her hair. Now I'm going to go in and start adding outlining detail and start outlining all the little areas here around her neck, her crown, her chin, her necklace. So you want to be very careful when outlining these small little details in her dress. Sometimes you don't want to overdo it. Just want to kind of feel the flow of the painting and see what works for you. Feel free to pause this video, take a look at what I've done. Of course, you don't have to do all of the detailing that I'm doing. Do what works for you and what's comfortable. Also going in under the sleeve, filling in that shadow. There we go. Going in over the arms to kind of show the sleeves draping over the arms and the little crease lines. There we go. Adding an outline around the jewel and adding some detailing to her hair. Now I'm also going to take some of this black and start outlining her facial features. If you can't see it underneath the paint, you're more than welcome to go ahead and re-outline those facial features in as well with a pencil and then paint it in with your brush. And then I'm going to add in some horns at the top of her head. I'm just going to make these slight curves kind of coming in towards the jewel here. Again, you don't have to add these. You can get as creative as you want with this. And also a little bit of detailing around the jewel here. And I'm also going to add a little bit of detailing to the halo. I'm also going to add a little bit of detailing to the area here. So on the inner yellow area, I'm going in with just some small orange brush strokes just to add a little bit of texture. Okay, kind of sped the process up a little bit just to kind of show you guys what I did. So as you can see, for that second orange layer, I added some yellow detailing, and in that last greenish layer, I added some orange detailing right around here. So I don't want to go too far out with all the detailing. I don't want it to be too incredibly busy, but I just want the detailing to kind of focus towards her head and kind of bring emphasis towards her. I'm going to take a little bit more brown and fill in that bottom lip just a little bit. And around her cheeks. Perfect. I guess I'll go in with some gold instead. Now this gold is optional. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. You can always mix a little bit of your brown and your beige together to get the perfect color for this, or your yellow and your ivory together. But I'm going to take my Liquitex Gold and I'm going to start filling in her crown. I feel the gold gives it a nice little pop. I'm also going to use that gold to fill in the jewel. Wasn't too crazy about the green, so I'm going to fill it in with gold instead. And then I'm also going to go in her hair and add some detailing in her hair with that gold as well. So I'm adding strands of hair, adding details of the hair with this gold, and I like the way it looks with this gold. I think it looks really good. And last but not least, we are going to take this tape off to see our finished look. I had so much fun painting this painting, you guys. I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you enjoyed today's tutorial, make sure to click subscribe and click that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.